Hey guys, it's Zach here again, and today I figured I would do a more in-depth demo of one of the big new features in Logic that just came out a few weeks ago called Live Loops. And I've just been playing around with this over the past few days or so to kind of get ready because I haven't really messed around with it yet, but it's pretty cool. So I figured I would give a little more of an in-depth demo than I did in my Logic overview video. So that people can see how this new workflow, works. So let's go. All right, so I'm at the Logic main screen right now, and we're on the Choose a Project screen. I'm gonna go to the
table, in tutorials, starter grids.
There we go, we're already there. The starter grids, which are Apple-designed templates for, that you can use to kind of experiment a little bit with live loops if you don't want to jump in and create your own right away. So I figured let's start with those, and then I can take you through the process of making one from scratch, because it's pretty cool.
How to collect image, oblique structures.
So let's
image,
pick one.
Skyline heat, image, skylight, image, neon dream.
Let's see.
Image, Solaris, image, bass house match.
Why do we do...
image, elevated.
What can we do
image,
here?
boom back matcher, image, vision inverse.
Let's do
image,
this one.
Vision, choose.
Yeah, it's like a hip-hop thing. So let's open this one up.
Logic Pro X busy.
Okay, it's busy. Come on.
Untitled.
All right, cool.
List editors.
So I'm gonna be a little more clear about this than when I did this demo a few weeks ago, because I really was very new to live loops. Now I kind of understand a little more how it works. So this is how it works. It's very simple.
Tracks group.
You have your tracks area like you always did, but if you go in here...
In tracks group. 2 items, tracks group. In tracks group.
Okay, now you have a few new things.
Live loops legend.
You have this legend area, which is kind of
in quantized
some parameters that we'll get back to.
Out tracks header group.
You have your tracks header, which is the same as like your normal track view. So you have like all the different tracks that you can solo and all that.
Live loops scroll area.
This is the important part. This is the scroll area that you're going to use to interact with live loops. So let's interact with this.
In live loops scroll area. 4 items, live loops grid.
Okay, here's your grid. This is your main kind of centerpiece.
Live loops grid.
Let's go in here.
In live loops grid. 180 items, loop in, start/stop, extra fly topper, row 1 column 1 cell.
So we have a lot of stuff in here. And these are all organized by rows. And each row corresponds with a track. And each track can have multiple columns, so like different loops. So think of it like this. If you have a song, your first track is drums, your second track is maybe some percussion, your third track is bass, your fourth track is guitar. Each track can have multiple columns, and if you go back to your tracks view the way we always worked in Logic, think of those like regions, essentially. It's just that the difference now is you can trigger them on the fly and record that as a new performance. So it's a completely different way of thinking about music. Here, let me show you what I mean. So we're on this first track here, which is some drums. I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to go to the right, so we have 2 buttons.
Play.
Actually, sorry, no, we have 1 button. Sometimes you have 2, and that's usually when you're actually creating one from scratch. I'll show you that. But we have a play button here, so I'm just going to start with this. There we go. So we have some hi-hats. Actually, here, really quickly, before I go any further, let me just quickly enable my audio output to be my speakers.
Output built loop back up preset news audio box.
There we go.
Preset
all right,
6
good.
bars.
Now we'll have better sound.
Device.
Okay, cool. So let's try that again.
Play. Primary.
There we go. So we have this hi-hat, right? Now, each track can have a ton of columns or different loops, but only one can play at a time per track. So you'll see if I go to the next one and hit play on that, you see it waits and then it plays the next loop, and we can do it again. It waits for a bar, and you can change that. There we go, so now it's doing the third one, more of a light thing if we do it again. A completely different thing, right? So let me turn that down. Okay, so you have this going, right? Now, let's say we wanted to add another track to this while this is going. We can do that. So right now I'm on the first row. If I want to go down a row, I don't need to go all the way to the right. I can just hit VO down arrow.
Start/stop. Play the out electric bass 1 row 2 column 4 cell.
And it actually moves to the 4th column in the 2nd row. If you don't want to do that, you can move to whatever column you want. it's not tied to the column number you've got going on in the first row. You can do whatever column you like. So here, just demo. I'll go to the second one and hit play. Right here. And you see it starts in sync. We can do the third one. And the fourth one. I want to do the second one. And now I'm going to go to the third row. And I'm going to use the second one in here too.
Play.
And I'm going to hit play. There you go, now we have a beat going. And it was really easy to do. So we can just keep this going now and just add stuff on top. So I can go down.
/stop. Extra fly piano for empty.
A little bit.
/stop. Extra fly piano 2. Roast.
There we go, we can
Play. Second.
hit play on here.
Play.
Second one here. And there you go.
Play.
So you can kind of just jam,
Empty. Start.
pick different ones and play them.
Press. Play.
And you can see how this is a very unique way of working. You're not constrained by the sections of your song, by the chorus, by the verse, by what parts need to go where. You can just have fun and kind of play around and experiment, and whatever you do can all be recorded. And I'll show you that now.
Grid stop.
So now I'm going to use this grid stop button, and it stops it right on the beat like that, which is really cool. Now I'm going to hit the space bar to stop the playhead from moving. And there are still some things I need to figure out in terms of how like the tracks area and the live loops grid kind of work together. Logic, the manual has a huge explanation. It's very long, it's very in-depth about how all of this works. But once you get to start using it, it's really easy to work with. But you need to practice it because it's a very different way of working. So we have that, right? Now, let's move on to the other sections in this live loops area.
Live loops divider. Live loops grid.
So you have the grid. Now, if we go to the right,
Live loops divider. Grid.
this is going to be important. Let's go in here.
In live loops divider. Grid. 9 items. Activate track. 1 button.
Okay.
Activate track. 2.
So I was very confused when I first saw this. I was like, what does this mean? But now that I've read the manual, I have a little bit of a better understanding. So what these buttons do is they switch playback from the live loops grid to the normal tracks area. Because if you are working on a project from scratch and then you open the live loops grid, you're not going to have anything in those cells to start with. They're all going to be empty. So you're going to have to take some time and import audio in there. So let's say you were working on a track and you want to put it into live loops. The only way I found to do that for right now is you have to copy the regions from the tracks area to the live loops grid one by one. And there may be a faster way to do it. I'm really not totally sure. But that is the way I've figured out how to do it. And so when you're doing that, this is important. These buttons control, on a track-by-track basis, what track is going to play where. So if I go to this first one, right?
Activate track.
Now this isn't really going to make a difference because this is just a live loops project that Apple set up. But if I hit it,
Press deactivate track. 1 button.
now, if I go back
Out of live loops grid.
to the live loops grid and I go to the first
In
column,
looping,
right?
Looping.
This, I'm pretty sure this is how it works, but we'll find out together.
Hit play.
If I hit play, so it plays. But if I now go to the right,
Live
I go
loops-
back in,
Activate track. 1.
you'll see that track is deactivated again. But if I had something in there, like let's say I recorded a piano, and then I took that piano region and I put it on the live loops grid, or I took, say, a different piano region and put it on the live loops grid. So I have one on the live loops grid, and I've got another one in the tracks area. If I then press this button, it will toggle between the two. So it'll say, if I press it, and the track is active,
Press
like
deactivate.
this. So now the track is active and the live loops grid is inactive. What's going to play on that track is what's in the tracks area, okay? Now if I press it again,
Press.
Whatever's on the tracks area, logic is going to ignore, and whatever's on the live loops cells in that grid that we were just looking at is going to play, not the stuff in the tracks area. It's a very important distinction to make. But what happened when I went back to try and demo this for you is the live loops grid, when I pressed play on that first column that corresponded with that first track, that first row rather, with the first track, it deactivated the tracks area and activated the live loops grid. So that's something that Logic will do automatically for you. But when you stop it, the tracks area playback is still going to be deactivated. You have to activate it here again. It's complicated. It seems hard, but once you actually get used to it, it makes a lot of sense, and it's very logical the way it's laid out. So right now you have 9 buttons here for all of the 9 tracks in this song. And right now they're all deactivated.
Deactivate track.
So okay, actually some of them aren't. Some of them are activated for whatever reason.
Deactivate.
But some of them aren't. So there you go. You've got kind of 9 tracks going on. So that's what that area does.
Out of live loop scene trigger.
Okay, this area is much easier to explain. These are scenes, and what these are like collections of cells. So you can basically program these to play whatever cells you want. You can select however many you want and then have them be in a scene, and then they'll play. So I haven't totally been able to figure this out yet, but you're supposed to be able to select however many cells you would like, and then have them play all together when you trigger a scene. That way, you can have different sections of song, like a verse, a chorus, a bridge, an ending, an intro. The only difference is that you can trigger them in whatever order you want, and they'll loop for as long as you want. So here, check it out. I'll show you.
In live loop 2, set selected.
We have this first one. I'm going to interact with it just like we did before and press play. And when we do that, I'm going to press the trigger button. When that happens, all of these cells are going to start playing. There you go. So if we go to the second one,
trigger.
When we trigger it, it will switch to a different group of cells. There you go. And it doesn't have to be linear like that. As I said, we can go to the 8th one and play it. And go to the 12th and play it. There you go. And you can have these be whatever you want.
16. 8 bars.
There you go.
17, 18.
And
19,
they just keep going, actually.
20.
There's a lot.
Hit trigger.
Let's see, is there a 20? Nope, okay, so they kind of just keep going.
20.
I guess you can have...
20.
There's up to 20 here.
8, 16.
I'm sure, is there more? Let's see, maybe this one, the 17? Nope. Oh, there you go. So there's up to 20 in this project. So I'm gonna stop it again. We're gonna just hit the grid stop button here. There you go. So that's scenes, and they're very powerful. And again, these can all be recorded as live playback, which I'm gonna show you right now. So check this out.
Out of live tracks header.
I'm going to, first off, I'm going to turn off cycle, because if you're working with live loops, cycle is a good thing to have on because it prevents the playhead from moving past like the end of the project and stopping. Although the live loops will still play. It's a bit complicated, but the manual suggests that if you're going to record all this stuff live, you have to have the cycle off. So that's what I'm going to make sure is happening with C.
Cycle mode off.
So you can turn it on and off with C.
Cycle mode on. Cycle mode off.
Just like that. So it's off right now.
7 bars, 3.
I'm going to make sure that playback is set to the beginning. Oops. Let's
10
move the playback head all the way back to the start. Okay, good.
Live.
So we're all set now to record.
Now,
what I'm going to do, I don't know if this is required, but on this tracks, all these tracks areas.
Active DQ pause cells. 1 button.
Okay, ooh, so they're telling me that there's some paused cells here. Let me
out of grid
stop everything.
Live deactivate track.
There we go,
1.
Good. So I'm going to just make sure that all of these are deactivated. Because some of them right now are activated, some of them aren't. It's a little messy. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Now, if we go back to that live loops legend area.
Tracks head live loops legend.
Right here.
Enable performance recording control key unchecked.
I'm gonna check this box.
Check enable.
And that's what you have to do to get it to record everything going on. I'm going to go back to the scenes.
Grids, live loop scene trigger, grid.
There you go.
Selected.
This will be the easiest way to demo this, but you can also do this with just triggering cells in the live loops grid, but I'm going to do it with scenes because it's easier. Now, all I have to do is press R, and it's going to count me in, and then I'm going to go here and trigger my first scene, like this. And it's all in time, so you don't need the click necessarily. You can have it, I think, but you don't have to. So let's go to the third one, and... there we go. And I'll go to the 11th one here. And we're gonna stop.
14.
And stop playback. Okay, cool. So that's now all recorded in the tracks area. And you'll see that Logic does some really cool stuff when that happens. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to turn off performance recording with Control P. There we go. VoiceOver doesn't say anything yet, but it should be off. We'll confirm it a little bit.
In 2, set 1.
I'm going to now activate all these tracks.
Activate track.
All right.
Activate.
All these.
Activate.
I want to be active. Okay.
Now
I'm going to hide the live loops grid. I'm going to try to anyway. When I tried this the last time, it didn't work out very well. So let's see if it works today.
Out of tracks. Live.
Let's also confirm.
Enable performance recording. Control P. Uncheck.
Yep, that's gone. Okay, good.
One box grid zoom.
So
out of tracks. Legend.
We'll look at these in a little bit. So I'm gonna go here.
Add function view. Show/hide live loops grid. Check.
I'm gonna hide that.
Track.
There we go. It's gone.
Out track. Control.
Or it should be gone.
Tracks. Add function view. Show/hide live. Show/hide tracks view. Check.
Yeah, we want the tracks view.
Show/hide automation. Unchecked.
Okay.
Show/hide flex. Uncatch
Make
player.
sure all these are hidden. Perfect.
Out track.
Now, if I go back to the start,
1 bar 1 beat.
now we're back in normal Logic. Let's make a song with tracks view land right here, where we don't have all that live loops grid stuff. It's back to normal behavior. All the key commands are back to normal. The key commands change in live loops. I'll get to that later. So I'm now going to hit play.
4 beat.
There we go. And now you see all of the stuff we just did was recorded on these individual tracks. If we go in here,
In live loops legend.
yeah, see, so some of the stuff is still showing. I'm not sure why, but we can just ignore it.
Tracks.
I'm going to go to this first one, which is the drums. I'm going to hit solo on it and see all of the drums are on their own track, and Logic has taken care of all the editing, all the regions for us. We don't have to do anything. They're just right there. There's the bass. There's the keys. We go back to the beginning.
1, 2.
There we go.
Toggle track top.
There's the 4. So you can see that everything is mapped out for us. We don't have to worry about editing or moving or looping or anything like that. It's all just taken care of.
Toggle check.
And now, there's nothing stopping you from going to this drum part, for example, and adding effects. So we can go in and say we want to... There's already some on here, but let's just start here. I'll add my... There we go.
Stereo. Beats.
So I just added some effects here.
Beat close.
And yeah, there's nothing stopping you from going in now and mixing it and doing whatever you need to do to get it to sound good. And it's a really fast way of getting a song laid down. But let's say you want to make a live loops grid from scratch. How do you do that? Well, that's super simple too. Let's make a new project.
Don't click close. Don't save. Button. Press don't save.
There we go.
Choose.
Okay.
Table.
So now I'm going to go back to here.
Out collect
and
image. Live loops.
There's a template now for live loops in the new project area.
Out create an empty project for live loops.
And it's empty. It's got nothing in it. Check it out.
Logic Pro X Busy.
Open it up.
Untitled.
There we go.
Play in.
And it shows you the loop browser right away so that you can start adding in loops. But you don't need to use this. You can import any audio you like. We won't be doing that today just because I don't really have anything that's suitable at the moment, as far as I know, on my computer to import. But we could do another video on that later. You can also record into live loop cells and then edit those performances just like you can in the normal tracks view. But today, we're going to just do some cool...
Chinese Chromium. Deep
importing of some audio. So, or loops rather. So let's go into a new sound pack in Logic. Let's try. What should we try here?
Skyline heat. Toy box. Text. Oblique structures. Prismatic.
Let's do this one.
Prismatic.
Yeah. Actually,
modern R&B.
Let's do.
Goes into vintage vision.
Let's do Vision and Verse again, because that's the sort of hip hop thing that we were looking at before.
400.
So now we can make our own custom kind of configuration. So let's find a cool drum loop.
Name 16 8-track tape 8 around and around piano 3 back in the day beat back.
Cool.
Back.
I'm gonna copy it with Command C like this. Now I'm gonna go back to my live loops grid, just like we were before.
Tracks, live loops, scroll.
Alrighty.
Live loops divide, live loops scene, live loops grid.
Yep, go in here.
Empty.
And now see all of these are empty.
Empty. Row 1, column 1, cell.
They're ready for you to add stuff in. So check it out. Also here's another thing we need to take a look at.
Live loop seek grid live out tracks header.
You may be wondering how you get all these tracks in here. And basically each row corresponds to a track you create in Logic. And this is a very important thing to keep in mind. When you paste an audio file or a MIDI clip onto a live loop cell, it needs to match the correct track type. And right now, they need to fix this in the future, but right now, Logic will not tell you what track you're on in the live loops grid. You need to look at the tracks area to find that out.
Into track 2, ins 1.
And there are 2 tracks created for us
track
here.
1, audio 1.
We have an audio track and then this instrument track, which I'm going to delete because I don't want it in here.
Track 1.
These loops that I'm going to import are audio, so we're going to keep it on this audio track.
Live loops.
So now if you go back in,
live loop scene trigger, live loops, live
the grid, we only have 1 row.
Empty.
But in this row
Empty.
has 8 columns on it. I think you could expand that, but I'm not totally sure how yet.
Empty.
But let's just go to this first one. I'm gonna press Control Option Space
Press
and Command V, and now we'll paste it on the cell with any luck. Let's take a look.
Selected looping //
Yep.
back in the day beat cell.
So that tells you the beat that was pasted in, and now
Hit play.
you can hit play, just like you could before. So now check it out. While it's playing, let's see if this will work. While it's playing, I'm gonna select another loop.
Loops back in the day electric piano 1. Back in the day saxo 1. Back in the day electric piano 3.
Let's try
back to school beat.
this beat. Cool. So it's playing alongside it, but watch this. I'm gonna copy it. I'm gonna go to the second cell.
Tracks. Live loops. Live loops. Scene trick. Live loops. Live empty. 2 cell. Press.
And hit paste. And now watch this.
Empty. Selected.
I'm gonna go to the second one.
Play.
I'm gonna hit play.
Press.
And it just moved that beat over to this loop. See? There you go. Simple as that. So let's say we want to add another row here. Let's say we want to add
out of grid stop.
like
Numberage. Audio radio.
I'll do an audio track. Let's say we want to get some bass now, right? So I'm gonna just search for bass. Perfect. Copy.
Tracks ahead. Grid stop button. Live loop scene trigger. Live loops divider. Live loop empty. Press.
It's also probably a good idea to make sure that when you copy something to a row, make sure the track is selected, just to make sure everything works properly.
Selected.
I don't know if that's necessary, but that's just what I would say. So now check it out. If I play now, it's going to start in sync. There it is. I'll stop it for now.
6.
And there you go. So you can just kind of keep going with that and adding as many loops as you want. I don't think there's really any limit aside from the track count in Logic. So you've got a lot of power to kind of experiment and go through. Now here's just a few more quick things, and then we're going to wrap up for today. I'm going to do a part 2 because this is very in-depth stuff. So
live.
Each cell, let's go to
live loop scene trick.
This. I'll keep it on this base one actually. Each cell has something called an inspector.
Inspect. Expanded. Cell.
And in here, you have various parameters for how the cell will behave.
Back in the day electric bass.
So it tells you the name of it. You can change it here, I believe.
Table.
Now, if we go in this table,
Start/stop. Pop-up but play mode. Play mode.
you have something
Collapsed.
called the play mode. And for some reason, you can collapse it, expand it.
Start play mode. Collapsed. Play mode.
Let's see if it'll
Text.
let me.
Collapsed. Expand.
There we go.
Start/quantize start. Level 2. Play mode. Expanded.
I'm not sure why you're able to do that.
Items and clip.
There you go.
Start/stop. Pop-up button expanded.
So this is the play mode pop-up button.
Menu checkmark. Momentary.
And you have
Retrigger. Check.
3 options. You've got start and stop. So basically, if you press the play button, it'll play. If you press it again, it will stop.
Momentary.
Momentary, basically, if you hold the button down, it will play. So that's good for like sound effects. I don't know how that works on the keyboard. I imagine you can just hold the space bar down.
Retrigger.
And then retrigger is cool. Check this out.
Retrigger. Pop.
I just pressed it.
Play.
I don't actually think you need to have this expanded. I'm going to collapse it. I'm not sure why it's there.
Retrigger. Pop-up button collapsed.
Maybe you do need to?
Menu check.
I'm not sure. It doesn't seem to make a difference.
Retrigger.
But that might just be an accessibility issue. But basically now, check it out.
Out of track.
I'm going to go to that loop, right?
Track. Live loops. Live loop scene trigger. Live loops grid. Selected in.
And if I hit play, it'll play like normal. Now watch this. It's just going to re-trigger in time. So you can now do some cool stuttery things with that. Especially if you have something longer. Or what you can do,
Inspect.
if I go back here,
Sit back table. Play from start. Pop-up start. Level 2.
you've got some other parameters in here.
0% loop start. 0 loop length. 50 cell length. 50 mute.
Get
Bunch of blue.
very
Play mode. Play from expanded. Start. Pop-up start. Level 2. 0%.
it can get very intense in terms of the
Out. Collapsed. Track.
kind of power you've got here. But if you go to this next
Back in the table.
area, which is the tracks area
Image.
for this specific track,
Chat audio
see
freeze.
if it's in here.
Pre-cue. Flex off. Pop-up mixer. Late.
It doesn't seem to be.
Mix.
But there is a way to adjust the quantize value for each cell individually.
Expect
So
cell.
if I wanted to,
Back table.
let's see if it's
In
maybe
play
here.
mode. Retrigger. Play from expanded. Start.
Oh, it might be this one.
Check stop position. Play head position. Playing cell position.
Nope. I'm not totally sure, but
Start.
there is supposed to be
Out-
a
out- track-
parameter in here for adjusting
Live loops. Live loop scene.
the quantize
divider.
value.
Live
Maybe
and
if let's
selected.
try this. Let's right click on it by doing Control Option Shift M.
Menu. Record into queue. Cell
Let's see,
edit.
maybe it's in here.
Select. Quantize.
Ah, here we go.
Quantize. Dimmed. Transpose. Submenu.
So, oh, it's dimmed. Oh, I see. So maybe just because this is an Apple loop, so there isn't a way to
Playback. Recording.
do that.
Checkmark. Loop. Tab out. Reverse control. Speed.
Which is
Sub.
the-
Quantize. Start.
Oh,
Submenu.
here we go.
Quant. Cell end.
So
Checkmark. Global.
check this out.
8 bars.
I can tell it logic
2
that I want this
1/2 triplet.
to
1/8 note.
have quantize of
1/16 note. 1/8 triplet.
let's just say eighth notes, right?
Select.
Now check this out.
Hit play.
If I hit play now, when I hit play, it's quantizing that button press to the nearest eighth note.
Press. Press.
So you can do really interesting things. This is not a very good example, but you could do very interesting things with like doing interesting rhythmic ideas. So if I start the drum beat, whoops. Let's see if I can get it in time.
Press.
Weird. Okay. Oh, I see why. Because I was messing around with the loop with
Hit
the
2 1.
trigger. So if I
Trigger. Out. Live loops. Divide. Live. So hit play.
There we go.
Press.
okay, so we have the bass now.
Out. Looping. Play.
Now it should be in time. Or
Out.
not.
Grid.
Okay.
Press.
I'm still very new to this, so this is not working exactly as I intended. But basically, what you're able to do is have it be so that the drums will start, right? And then you can have different quantized values for different cells. And then you're able to do interesting sort of rhythmic things. They're all kind of in time, and you can kind of, mess around with that. Especially if you have it hooked up to, say, like a MIDI controller, which you're able to do. So you can hook it up to like some pads or a keyboard or something like that, and have it kind of have everything in time, and it's a much more hands-on experience. But yeah, so there's a lot of stuff you can do with live loops. I don't have time to go through everything. This is already a very long video as it is. But I hope that this kind of inspired you to go out there and look at it and have some fun. Definitely leave me a comment. Tell me if there's anything in this set of features that you want me to try and cover, and I can do my best. I'm still very new at this, as you can probably tell by that last kind of failed demo there. But it's a very cool workflow, and I think it'll take all of us kind of some time to get used to this way of working, but it's really cool. And I think that if we can start to try and sort of incorporate this in to the music making process, it's going to make it a lot more fun. I can, for me, it's a lot more fun to kind of mess around and not have to worry too much about, did I play a wrong note, or, because everything's kind of, you can take care of all that stuff first, and then you can kind of take care of the arrangement after with this sort of method of working. And it's easier to manage. You're not messing around with tons and tons of regions and editing and all this crazy stuff. It's a really cool way of working, and I hope that more people will take advantage of it. I know when Logic 10.5 was released, a lot of people were like, oh god, why are they doing this? I don't need this DJ stuff in my DAW. I know that's what someone said, I think on a forum or something. But I think it's really cool. I wasn't too impressed by it at first either. I was like, I don't know if I'll ever use this. But then I kind of played around with it a little bit, and it's very powerful stuff. There are some accessibility things, as you can kind of see with that inspector. There are a few things they need to work out there, but for the most part, it works really well. You're able to record into cells as well. I didn't show that today, but it's very easy. You just right-click on a cell with Control-Option-Shift-M, and then in there's a record into cell option, and also the key command for that, I believe, is Option-R, so you don't even need to go to that menu. And then if you have a MIDI instrument pulled up and you have a cell for that track, you can do Option-R and then record whatever you want. And if you hit spacebar in time with the click, you should have a click on to make sure it's all in time. But when you hit spacebar, it will loop properly, and then you can quantize it and do whatever you need to do. And it's really, really cool. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this demo. Let me know if you have any more questions about how it works. I think it's a really cool feature, and I will catch you guys next time. All right, bye-bye.